Well, here we are back up in the attic again, and wanted to show the progress. And I am finished with what I'm going to do up in this attic. You can see, first of all, on that end, that's where I have one of my the eave vent, or it's a louvered vent that it was used to vent the hot air in the attic. And it looks from here like it is completely blocked off, but it is not. The reason that I put that board up there is after putting up the radiant barrier, what I was hearing whenever we would have a strong wind or storm come through, you could really hear this radiant barrier flapping. It made all kinds of noise. And what that told me was that there was really too much air coming in through that soffit or that louver vent. Most of the air in the attic should be coming up through the soffit vents instead. What was happening was the wind was blowing right through here, and it was causing the insulation to blow and shift around, and really too much airflow. So what I did was I built 4 standoffs, and on each of the 4 corners of that board, I attached it, and then I attached it to the side of the attic structure. So there's about a 5-inch gap all the way around that, so air can still vent out of this attic space. But there towards the west, where we get the strongest winds from, I'm no longer getting that big rush of wind coming through there. And then you can see that I did get the insulation installed. And what I did, I ended up putting 12 inches of insulation in, and that's on top of the 4 or 5 inches that was already here. And then finally, I had the, this is where my bathroom fans are vented through the roof. We'll go up on the roof next and show you how that works. But that is a flexible aluminum line that is attached to the fan on this side, and then it goes up to the roof line, and then it attaches to the vent. You install the vent on the roof first, and then you come down and install that on the attic. Now, because we had that issue before where the cold air is coming in from the attic vent and the warm air is rising up from the, and the moist air is rising up from the bathrooms, I didn't want condensation to build up in there. So I made sure that I got the correct type of venting line. So it does have a very thick padded insulation and then a plastic wrap around that. And then finally, I made sure that it wasn't laying down on the attic floor. It does maintain a slope so that if any moisture does build up in there, it'll naturally flow back down and it won't be hung up within that vent. So that's what we've got going on up here now. This attic is done. We do have a little bit of work to do in the other attic yet. We'll go over there next. Here we are up on the roof, and you can see the 2 vents that I installed to vent the bathroom fans. These simply slide under one of the shingles. I did have to cut space out and then slide it up there. And then I took a lot of the black tar that comes in a caulking tube and really slathered it around good. I did put a bead of it underneath the flat part of the vent that lays on the roof on both sides and across the top, but I didn't put a bead of it at the bottom, just in case any moisture gets underneath, it can still come out from the front. But these vents, they weren't the cheapest ones at the store, but they appeared to be good because you can see that they have an angle, so they're pointing downward, and inside there they have a flap. And what happens is when the bathroom fan comes on, the flap opens up, similar to a dryer vent, and then it'll exhaust all of that moisture into the air outside. And I did that with both of them, but they seem to be working pretty good. Every now and then when we have a real strong wind, I can hear the little flappers in there moving, and we hear that down in the bathroom. It doesn't happen that often, only when we have a real strong wind. My only other concern with this style is, remember when we were first working in the attic and I pointed out all of the wasps that we had? This does look like it could be a perfect haven for wasps to get in and build a nest. It's now November, and these things have been in place now for multiple months, and throughout the summer I haven't had any issues with that happen yet. I've been checking periodically just so that if anything builds in there I could immediately get it out. But that's what we did up here on the roof, and I'm real happy with these so far. Okay, so here we are over in the second attic, and this attic was a little bit easier to work with, at least half of it was, compared with the attic over the bedrooms and bathrooms in our house. First of all, we don't have any exhaust fans from bathroom vents leading into this area, so that was one thing I didn't have to worry about. About halfway down, you may be able to see the light coming through. We do have a turbine fan that's mounted to the roof right there. But when I did this attic, I pretty much did everything here that I did over in the other attic. I did go into the soffit area and remove the extra bat insulation that the previous owner had going out, covering up the soffits. But then I did put up you can see here I've got the radiant barrier up on both sides, and I did go ahead and put in some blown in cellulose insulation in this side as well. And then over here, this side it was actually very easy to work with. This was used as a previous storage area by the guy that lived in the house before me. He did put plywood up here, and he was storing a lot of items. I'm not a fan of storing things in the attic just due to the high temperatures and low temperatures. And it was springtime when I did the work up here, so it wasn't ridiculously hot. It is kind of warm up here right now, but you can see I did go ahead and put the radiant barrier all the way over, and I did not put the insulation on this side just because the plywood is here. What I do plan on doing later on with this area, I might put something up here that if it's something I'm not concerned with, getting warm, being exposed to the elements, I don't think it'll hurt it. Maybe I'll use it for some drying of some wood for woodworking. But I'll probably just put bat insulation over on this side. But I do want to point out another problem that this attic has, and I don't know if you noticed it when I was talking about it. So this side of the attic that you're seeing right here is living space. That's above my family room, above my dining room, and above my kitchen. And this area right here that has plywood, this is above my garage. So this is unheated and not cooled area. You notice there's no wall separating the two areas. There should be some type of a firewall here. There should be some insulation so that all of my heat that may rise up through the insulation over here isn't going to escape out the vent that I have. And I do have a vent over there, and I did the same thing with it that I did on the other one. Too much air was coming in, so I blocked it off on some 2x4 stands, so air can still escape there, but I'm not getting the large rush of wind coming through this attic whenever we have a storm. But this area should definitely have some type of a firewall to separate the two areas and keep the the conditioned air over above the living area. So I did go ahead and put a couple of 2x4s here, and I started the work. I haven't completed it yet, but I will be putting a firewall here. I will have a trap door in this area right here so that I can still pass through and access this attic space. Yeah, it's just, I just keep finding more and more items that were not done right when this house was built. But that's why I'm trying to make it right. We'll get there. But, well, that's about all with the attic stuff and the insulation project. Here, I do have one other thing that I'd like to talk about. If you remember, I showed you these baffles that were put into the soffit area back behind this radiant barrier. Because these came in 24-inch wide strips, they did have a perforated edge where you could cut them off and use the same baffle, whether you have 16-inch on center like I have here, the rafters, or if you had 24-inch on center. If you have 24-inch on center, you would use the entire item. But because mine are 16 inches on center, I did have to cut an 8-inch section off of each one. And, you know, that's awfully wasteful. I just didn't like the idea of doing that. And this is a lot of the extras that I had, and I'll use this for another project. But I want to show you what I did to reuse those pieces. What I have here are 2 of the 8-inch cutoffs. This is one 8-inch cutoff, and this is the other 8-inch cutoff. And so what I did, I was able to just put some duct tape right down the middle to give me a 16-inch piece. You can see this is one that's not taped together. This is one that was simply 8 inches of it cut off, and this was what I needed to use. And then this one right here is one of them that I made from the 2 waste pieces. So if you have a project like this, definitely don't throw those 8-inch pieces away. You can definitely tape them together, and they'll work just as well as the complete single piece pieces of this stuff. And because they cost, I think they were about $1.75 each, you could save quite a bit. You see, I have quite a bit left over, and we'll probably use this at my son-in-law's house. Don't throw this stuff away. You paid for it, you may as well get your use out of it. Well, that's it for the attic project for now. I may come back and do an update once I get the firewall put in here. But other than that, I think you get the idea of the job that I had to accomplish here. So I'm glad that it's over. I really don't like working in attics anymore after doing all of this. Well, this is Jim with Jim Jenny, Ohio. And if you don't mind, please give me a thumbs up and either like, subscribe, or share this video with your friends. Thank you, take care, and enjoy the rest of your day.